Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Dresden live stream, uh, discussion here. We are down a few. Some people are under the weather. Some people have birthdays that they have to attend to, but that's all right. We got the Trinity here, and
Not sure how holy we are, but
we are not holier than thou. Let's just get that right out there. Uh, so we'll just, I mean, by now most people probably know, but let's go around and introduce ourselves there.
Well, as I've always said, I'm Warlock or Nathan, as Joe calls me. Uh, just an old friend of his, known him since childhood. He'll pull me on here and we'll just talk about bullshit all day. That's what I'm doing now.
love it. Well, I'm Chaz. My channel is Bookish Chaz, and I'm really excited to talk more Dresden. We're just plowing through these.
Yeah. So, Chaz, what I know they were starting to kind of pick up here for you. What was your feelings as soon as you got into Small Favor?
Well, my initially I was just trying to figure out, okay, what's the small favor? Because I know it's not going to be a small favor.
Not with Dresden.
Yeah, those titles are always facetious. Um, yeah, so I was very curious to see what it was going to be. I knew I was going to be in for a treat, whatever it was, because at this point in the series, I'm just kind of like, okay, I know it's going to be nonstop action, because it just has been. It's just been building and building. So
Yeah,
um,
and yeah, for sure, that was definitely. And it's weird. It's like sometimes, sometimes, Dresden will have the kind of low, a book that'll kind of let you kind of chill a little bit. I
mhm.
felt like White Knight was kind of that, a little bit of a chill book, and then Small Favor here has been like, it I loved how it started off with the Dresden just kind of sitting around, and he's kind of become friends, with Charity is starting to accept him, and they're
Mhm.
just snowball fighting in the backyard, and
Mhm.
then of course the goddamn weregoats. I mean,
Yeah, the where goats.
The Gruffs.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I mean those. Well, just like in the old fables and everything, we had layers to those guys. We had levels, and each time Harry kicked one of their asses,
no problem,
like
Isaac.
they got a whole, they took a level and they came back and they tried again, and they kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
That's something I always enjoyed.
Well, I love how Jim does that with fairy tales and stuff like that, like where he'll about it, but then he just puts these twists and turns into them, and you're like, man, you're like that was a good twist, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, and we and we come out of here, and so it, it just so he gets in a fight here. We learn that Molly is becoming really good with her veils, which
Mhm.
I like that contrast. I like because through the whole series, Dresden has kind of stated that he's not very good at veils, even
Right.
before he started working with Molly. So it's cool to see him kind of have an apprentice that is better at something than he is.
Right.
So it's not just and that's another great thing Jim does, where it's like he doesn't make you feel like Harry is of Mary Sue, where he can just I can just do anything I want to do.
Right.
Yeah, he's good at what he's good at, and you know what those things are. But
Mhm.
he definitely has his shortfalls, and they are quite glaring when you find out about them.
Yeah. And he makes it pretty clear too that a lot of it is just probably lack of time to practice and skills. So having to teach Molly has made him better at his veils, but still she surpasses him.
Yeah.
So she's kind of got that natural talent for it, whereas he has to work a lot harder for it.
Yeah, and well, and like if you've ever pretty much doing anything, I mean, I like to throw things into into like sports analogies and stuff, but it's really anything.
Yeah.
It's like if you there's a certain level you get to, and then whatever you're doing, your skill or whatever kind of starts to stagnate.
Hmm.
But then if you teach somebody, your own skill elevates, even though
Right.
you're teaching them what you already know, because it just sharpens your skills and it makes you find holes in the things that you already knew.
Right.
And I love that. I love that aspect of it where he was, and he kind of even said that he's like, it's like I'm finding things out and that I didn't even know because I just wasn't looking for them until I was teaching somebody, teaching Molly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much true of real life. I mean, if you want to learn anything in life, teach it and you'll get better at it. You might not excel at it, but you'll at least get better.
Yeah.
So,
What did you guys think when Mab shows up and basically is like, um, yeah, you need to help Marcone. And it's like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, this is one of the first times that Mab has tasked Harry with a job that he just found incredibly distasteful. He was not
Yeah.
happy about it at all, but he knew that at this point he's still under her thumb. She still has two what is it two tasks that he has to fulfill for her in order
Hmm.
to nullify the contract that she has. And for anyone that doesn't know that didn't wasn't here for when we went through that and everything, like fairy contracts aren't just pieces of paper. She's got control over his body. She's got control over his magic and his mind. Like if he does not want to do the things that she wants him to do, she can screw him up, and he knows that too. So I
Oh
mean,
man.
he's gonna
Yeah.
he'll bite his tongue and grit his teeth and squeeze his fists and go, all right, well, hell, fine, I'll deal with that jackass.
Hmm.
Well, and I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but was it this book or was it the previous favor that she asked where he said no and then she just kind of floored him?
It might have been this one.
Yeah, I think it was this one because yeah, initially he was like no, and then he ended up relenting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one.
Oh, and again, just to also point out here, this is, I believe, the first book where Mad's not talking. She's not talking herself. She's talking
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
Gray
Grimalkin,
Malkin, right?
Yeah.
the mouthy little Mulk that helped him in what was it, Summer Night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Gray Malkin.
Yeah,
Right.
Great character.
and
Yeah. And
he's
we well, and I can't say anything. I guess we get a little bit more of an answer to that in changes, but I won't say anything. So, um,
yeah.
but yeah, that was kind of strange because up until now she's talked with Harry in her own voice, and I mean Grimalkin, I guess, is still using her own voice, but like it is like channeling her voice. But yeah, before she talked directly to him, that was
Mhm.
kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like,
and
what happened? Did she get laryngitis or something?
Yeah, 'cause when-
they do talk about it though, don't they? Because in this book, isn't it where he it's bugging him, and he's like, why are you talking to this stupid cat? Why aren't you talking to me? And they're like, it's because I'm mad. I'm really, 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 really pissed off, and
Oh, I
I
forgot
can't
about that. Yeah.
I can't talk, because my voice is still a part of my power. So if I'm talking when I'm pissed, I'm gonna freaking
melt
you
your
know,
brain or something.
exactly.
Like
I'm
that.
gonna pull a dogma
Mhm.
and pop your head.
Right.
Because didn't she show up? She showed up in like a blizzard or something, or it was already snowing, and then when she came in, she made it like a blizzard. And if I'm not mistaken, Toot Toot was talking with Harry, and he's like, "We gotta run. We gotta get out of here." And after, like, towards the end of Mab and Harry's conversation, he goes, she basically tells him, she goes, "I wasn't what he was afraid of." And then she goes away. He's like, "Huh?" And then
Tommy guns.
the was it two more Gruffs?
I believe it was 2 Gruffs. It wasn't a Tommy gun. It was a more modern submachine gun. I don't recall which kind. Probably an MP5 or something. But yeah, they're just trying to, just plugging away at Harry, trying to, unlife him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was freaking cool where she showed him what happened to Marcone, where Marcone went into his safe house and the place basically exploded, But also what I thought was cool was that Guard was able to like snap this rune thing and block Mab's sight. So you're just like, wow, man, like they're, her magic's pretty good. If she's able to block, Mab from seeing, into what's going on.
Well, I'm pretty sure at this point what Guard, what she is, right? That gets revealed.
Yeah.
What book was it? Maybe it is this book? I don't recall. I mean, do you remember if they say what Matt or what Guard is?
If they did, I don't remember it.
Well, it's not a huge spoiler or anything. I'm pretty sure it's already been revealed, but either way, she's using runic magic. Like she's a freaking Valkyrie, so she's gonna have some pretty high level magic there.
Right.
But yeah, I thought the and then of course we get Michael gets involved, and anytime Michael is in a book, the book's going to be good. Like Michael is it's so crazy. I haven't done this myself, and because I got all the reviews and we're doing these and stuff, but towards the end I'll probably do like my Dresden top 10 or whatever favorite characters. But whenever people do those lists, a lot of times Michael ends up above Harry on the lists, because Michael's just a great character.
Michael is a great character. Yeah, he's not my favorite over Harry, but I really like Michael.
No, I gotta admit, I identify too much with Harry, which is fair because you're in his head and everything. It makes sense to do that, but like when it comes to Michael, anytime he's in a book, you're gonna get 3 things. You're gonna get awkward, wholesome, and epic. Because he is so awkward.
He is.
He's awkward because of his wholesomeness, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it's weird. Michael is really smart, but then he's also like, it seems like sometimes he's out of the loop or gullible. Sometimes
I like to think book smart, street dumb. Like he doesn't really have the street smarts, because he doesn't really need them. Like literally one of the powers of the Knights of the Cross is you're gonna be wherever you need to be, just by virtue. It's just like you're gonna get miracled there. I mean, quite literally in this case. So he doesn't really need to know how to do or get anywhere because it's gonna, it's the work's done for him. He has to just walk basically.
Yeah.
So,
well, and one of the most unique scenes that we've seen in Dresden happens here in Small Favor when they're in the office building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a mall. I don't know if it's the mall or if it's an office building where they're in there and the ick. Yeah, like this weird. The way he described it, it's just like this thick darkness that you can actually kind of feel it, and it blocks out all the light. Even I think Harry says even his wizard light really doesn't.
Yeah,
do
it's like
anything
eating
to
it. And I'm pretty sure it was a train station. I think.
Yeah, train station or an air. Yeah, I think it was a train station. I was
that or an airport.
Airport. Yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
spells.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, so like conventional magic is limitedly effective, more borderline ineffective. All the people were being like knocked out by it or just nullified by it and everything. And then here comes Michael and whatnot, and you finally get to see, besides the swords just being talked about like there's these badass artifacts and everything, artifacts of power and whatnot. You get to see full hand what those things are capable of, and there's a good chance that it was only like a fraction of its power, just
Right.
burning that crap away, just radiating out and burning it away.
Yeah,
There's
and they go
nothing
ahead.
conventional about Amarakius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just amazing to see Jim describe it. Just like it wasn't that it was like this whole normal thing where the light in the darkness. Like he describes how it's like physically pushing the the ick away, and then we get to see the creatures that were in there, and man, those things sounded terrifying. I mean, like they were like they reminded me of those creatures from that movie, The Descent. I think it was The Descent or The Cave.
Yeah, the one with gosh, I don't want to be facetious and actually say the one with the lady that does the thing, but the one with the lady that does the thing, the cave spelunkers.
Yeah.
With the girl that there's that iconic scene where she falls in like a big like puddle or big pool of blood or something, right?
Yeah, and these things like they their eyes are all either like all white or glossed over.
Yeah, they're all talking,
and they have like these stone axes, and and stuff, and you're just like it seemed very primal, but they were just they were so fearful of Michael. Like every time they seen the sword and the light was like burning them and stuff.
Well, like that sword in that moment with what it was doing, I mean, it embodied judgment. That was going to be the final judgment on those things. And when you're in this, it's almost like say one of us are walking through the forest and everything, and we come up on a a mother grizzly bear, and we startle her. That moment, the moment that thing gets startled and it looks at you and goes, "You got that." That moment, that's judgment. That's the feeling that these creatures were feeling when they were looking at that sword.
Well, and then how Harry's able to like start bringing it down. I thought it was genius where he used the sprinkler system.
Yeah,
but he couldn't just. It wasn't so easy, like because like if it was a movie or a TV show, they would take the easy way out where it's just right there and you just do it. Well, with it being Dresden, like he had to like create a circle, empower the circle to get up to where the actual sprinkler system was to encapsulate it, to get it free of the egg, and then he was finally able to kind of start it off.
Yeah, didn't he use some thaumaturgy for that? Because this is something I do like a lot about the series as well. You have the evocation that he's really good at. The quick, as you called it, quick and dirty magic, where he's just literally making fire or making wind or whatever, and that stuff's flashy and cool. But then you see him showcase and show off all the other aspects of magic that more red people, more like Wiccans and people in real life would be they'd be wanting to try to utilize and everything, because no one can do evocation as far as anyone knows, but like the Wiccans could go, well, I'm using thaumaturgy to try to find my keys or some crap. I think he does something like that where what was it called? The wall of not attraction. There's some kind of law that he's using or something that like allows him to activate one of the sprinklers, then activate all the rest because they're all the same thing.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember what that was called though.
yeah. He does that throughout the book series. Like when he used putty, he was able to lock the magic to the entire set, even though he took pieces off because it's from the original piece.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
all the magic is linked to that one thing. I think that's the same way he did that.
Yeah, he did it for the Loop Guru too. That probably is the first time he did it. I think the first one I remember, where he had the Snoopy doll and he like rubbed the thing's blood all over it, and he was like, "I'm gonna tie this sucker up. You know, we're gonna shut this guy down for a whole night."
Well, and then we run into someone again who Colton said Harry ran into him earlier. The the giant gruff brother that
Which
we
one,
met
Tiny?
earlier. Tiny, yeah,
Tiny, yeah.
that we met in McAnally's. And that, I mean, Dresden has a lot of iconic scenes, and that's definitely one of them. Like if they ever did a faithful adaptation of Dresden, like that would have to be a scene that would make it in
Oh,
there,
yeah.
where he's like ducking into Max and like his horns are like gouging the stuff,
Right.
and like
And then, the contrast. You see, it's an iconic scene in everyone's mind because of how it's described, but the way it's described, would have to be adapted. You have this, 12-foot tall, just megalithic, like you said, weregoat. I don't know why, but I always pictured him having like this ridiculously like over exaggerated like upper physique and everything.
Yeah, his shoulders
bulging
are
muscles
huge.
and everything. I don't know, but tiny legs. He doesn't do leg day in my head. I don't know why. But
You may not need to.
right? He probably doesn't. But he sits down and you got this 12-foot tall giant monster and everything. And then you got 5-foot nothing tiny Karen on the other side. The contrast on that has to be depicted in some kind of adaptation. If they ever do one, like you are doing a disservice to the fans by not having that in there, because that's just hilarious. And then she starts mouthing off at him and everything. She sticks the gun. Doesn't she stick the gun under his chin, I think? And
she was just like, this is my domain and everything. I love how he kept calling her Dame Murphy.
Yeah. I like the part where she does that, and he's like, "You would use the Bane on me," and she's like, "I never sent any accords, and I'm not part of any of these nations. So yeah, you bet your ass if you start crapping my city, I'm gonna shoot you." And he's like,
"Right,
noted."
Yeah, but then we meet the Gruff again in the train station here, and where Harry ends up doing battle with him, and I
love a cat and mouse game though. He's not really battling him, if I remember.
Yeah, he's kind of getting chased and stuff, and Harry uses the physics against him, where he's like, this guy's too big to corner fast, so I'm gonna be like sliding these corners really fast, and I forget how he ended up getting him, but I know he ended up like cutting his leg off or something.
There was a spell inside of the subway terminal's locker. He opened the locker.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, because he needed a sample of Marcone's blood, right? And Guard, and this is where they had met. Guard and Hendrix and everything were in their safe house, and she goes, "Don't let." Yeah, I remember because she said like what she said. Don't let anything that you care about be in front of that door when you open it.
Right.
And this is the book that Guard got split down the middle too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah,
I
love that. I love that scene where she's pushing her guts back in and stapling herself. And
no, she was using glue though. Can you not glue too?
He's like, can you not do that while we talk?
Right.
And Harry, Harry's like. Harry ends up like just holding it for her. He goes, just get it over. Just staple it, okay? Let's not don't keep doing this so slowly.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
Yeah, that scene to me is so well described and well written that I like
too well.
Right? I have a mental image of this scene and everything of Guard and everything, and like he describes her shaking hands. He's describing like the beads of sweat on her skin, and so like I have this like almost picture perfect mental image, and then like you guys were saying, her insides are split down the, or she's split down the middle. Her insides are coming out, so it's not necessarily one you want so clear in your head. But well, thanks, Jim.
Right.
But yeah, I loved how when you opened that door and it ended up like cutting cutting the Gruff's leg off or whatever, and the Gruff's like kind of laying there, and he's like, oh, he goes, okay, I've been beat. He goes, go ahead and finish me, wizard. And Harry's like, why would I do that? He's like, I don't have anything against you. He's like,
right.
Yeah, and he's like, you would show mercy.
Oh, dude, that's something that is really funny. Okay, so the reason that the Gruffs are coming after him and everything is because he's an emissary of winter, and like they're how do you say it? Like their brains are wired to immediately go enemy evil, both sides. Like the winter is inherently this violent, nefarious, ruthless counterpart to the summer and everything, and they're like, he's an emissary of winter, he is evil. And then Harry's like, nah man, I'm just doing a job. And like they can't, this is not the first time that they've done this, and it won't be the last, but like they just can't wrap their mind around somebody working for winter and not being an unrepentant bastard.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, and I love how Harry gets around, or once he figures out how they're tracking him, and it's from the pin. And I think he figured it out when he was in the giant Hummer of Thomas. And Thomas like, well, throw the damn thing out the window. And he's like, and he goes, I got a better idea. And he goes downstairs and clips it to the catnip or whatever above Little Chicago.
Oh
yeah,
Another use of Little Chicago. I love that. I love that it constantly gets brought up, and like X is just this awesome, which it is. This giant awesome artifact that he took God knows how many months to create and everything. But since it's like you said, it's over top of Little Chicago being smacked around. As far as I guess Summer in general, like as far as Summer's concerned, he's developed a few more skills, teleportation being one of them. Just hopping all over the city.
Well, because didn't they say something like, didn't like Murphy say that there have been weird things over the police scanner about like goat-like creatures or something, like going all over this, like showing up all over the city randomly because they're trying to chase down where he's at.
And tell me, this I don't recall. Tiny, wasn't he the one right before the eldest? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the last. Yeah, he was the last one you've seen before the end.
Yeah, but so he's basically like, oh, you beat me, you showed me mercy, you're gonna regret that. I'm gonna tell Big Brother.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Because Harry's like, well, do you need? Yeah, because I remember he's like sitting there. He's like, you would show mercy. He goes, yeah. He goes, and Harry's like, do you need help? Do you need help getting back? And he's like, no. He goes, I can make my way. And he like puts his hand out and starts melting into the ground. And he goes, yeah. And basically he's like, you'll regret letting me live. He goes, my eldest brother is coming for you now. And Harry's first thought is, they get bigger? What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know. There's no real great way to bring it up, so I guess I'll bring it up now. Like this to me is the first attempt that I recall from Jim in subtle writing. Like hiding stuff directly from the reader and then revealing it later. When it comes to his blasting rod,
Yeah.
You know, and this I think this is his, you know, his test run for later books, if you know what I'm talking about, Joe. We'll get to that here in a few months.
Well, it was so weird. Yeah. That was so weird that it wasn't you know, I never at least the first time through, maybe even the second time I read this thing, is like I never caught it that he wasn't using it.
Mhm.
And it never occurred to me. But you know,
Yeah, which
one
is
of
weird
the
because he had constructed a new one, but he
yeah,
wasn't using it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and then we you know, we figure out that the, you know, because what the Denarians end up, you know, we find out that it's them that has Marcone.
Mhm.
And then, you know, Ivy tries to get involved. He kind of gets Ivy involved to try and, you know, kind of shut, because what they're breaking the accords or whatever, and she's the, you know, she's the one that Harry's most familiar with, and they can try to figure out a way.
Mhm.
But then they end up in the what is it, the Chicago Aquarium.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh man, just another great scene there.
Iconic.
Yeah. I love the confrontation initially between like the parlay almost between Dresden and Nicodemus.
Oh my God, yes.
That was insane, and the whole time he was just stalling, so that they could get to the archive. Because like Harry didn't realize at that time that the archive was the target.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like in typical Harry fashion, like he figures out what's going on just right before
Right.
it all hits the fan, and he what is it? Because he how does he describe it? He was turned around. He was turned around from Nicodemus when he figured it out, and he
Yeah.
just turns around and blasts him with a force from his staff, and then starts running
Yeah.
to get to Ivy.
Well, and who was it that poked fun at him too? Like one of Nicodemus's like crew was saying something like, you know, have you not figured it out yet, or something to that effect.
Was it Thorn Namsio?
Or either
I
Thorn's
think it
Natural
was,
or
yeah.
Magog, maybe.
Well, Magog's kind of a dipshit. I don't think he'd be mocking anyone for not figuring something out.
Yeah, I think it was Thorn and Namshiel. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
I'm pretty
because
sure.
they kind of build up a little bit of a kind of a mini rivalry between the two of them throughout this book and everything. Because Namshiel's a wizard, a very
Yeah.
powerful sorcerer and everything.
Right.
And so, you know, he's like the dark contrast to Harry and everything, which pays off in dividends when the two of them get in a fight and Harry starts getting his ass handed to him. And then we get what I think is one of the most epic like power ups, I guess you could say, in the series. And Harry has no idea what it is or, you know, how it happened or anything as of yet in the book. But you know, he gets access to the celestial counterpart to the infernal hellfire, soulfire,
Mm-hmm.
and that stuff. Huh, that packs a wallet.
Yeah, didn't he like
Yeah.
create like a giant hand or something
And smack
smashed
Namshil
it?
around, and
Yep.
you get a tiny little bit of foreshadowing of what it is. With Namshil's like, "You would beat me with the flames of creation," and you're like, "Whatever the hell that means." Sure,
Right.
stay
Oh,
down
that
and
was-
shut up.
What was it? Was it Uriel that bestowed that?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Sunshine.
he doesn't call him that yet. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't think they.
Sorry.
This is the first book they interact, and he doesn't even know it's Uriel until later because, you know, he's in the guise of the janitor.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's right. Yeah.
but like I love why he got it. Because, well, I guess twofold. One, he ended up redeeming, you know, a fallen angel's shadow That was
Right.
pretty badass. And like even the angels were acknowledging, okay, this
Yeah.
mortal's pretty cool for this. And then, then literally Lucifer himself uses a shit ton of hellfire to create that dome, at the marina and everything that like negates or like zap the magic out of the area and everything.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I thought that was one of the most unique things I've seen in any fantasy book. Where he describes that dome that is like, literally, it's like, but he's like, because most of the time, if somebody were to do something like that, it would just be like, oh, cuts off all magic. But Jim's like, no, it's just like if you cut off all the air, there's still some air in there, but it's going to run out. And then you have this feeling of, okay, we're working against the clock here, so there's gonna be some kind of climax to this section of the book. And I mean, and I loved that. And you have Kincaid who's pulling like a Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. He's like hanging from the rafters and just just headshot John Wicking people.
Well, he gets a double kill with one bullet, I think, at one point in the book. It really showcases how dangerous the Hellhound is. And
yeah, for sure.
one thing I do want to talk about with the dome that I thought was really cool, like you were saying, this is, I think, the first time you see it utilized or even done in the series, because it's never been needed at this time. But like, you find out that Harry can literally draw magic into himself like a giant capacitor. Like, he sucks a crap ton of energy into himself to go into the dome so that he filled up his batteries, basically.
But it's not good. It's not good for him, though.
No, it's not
No
good
way.
at all. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, he's talking about how he feels like a
He's
pressure
feeling-
against his skull.
And like the static, like electricity on his skin and everything. The descriptions were pretty cool, but like that's the only time I think he ever does that. Like, I don't recall them ever doing anything like that with Harry throughout the rest of the series so far.
Definitely not before this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember
it either. Yeah.
So it makes it feel unique, stand out to me, and everything. But and then he goes in there and starts rocking people, and what is it? I'm trying to remember here. Didn't Ivy pick this point? She picked it to do like a neutral handoff or something like that, and then it went sideways. So she picked the Dolphins or something, I think. And when he finally gets to her and everything, it really goes to show you how scary the archive is. Ivy's a sweet girl. The archive's scary as shit.
Well, I like how they kind of led into that. They didn't have her come straight out guns blazing. Like, she hid underneath a veil for half the scene, and then it's right when, because he stopped Magog, and then was it Nicodemus's wife that actually got Harry?
Tessa? I don't recall.
Well, one of them actually ended up getting Harry, has him on the ground, and then no, it was the big guy. It was the big guy who looked like a rock or something, and had Harry down. And the other female was like, if he moves, crush his skull.
Well, there's Magog, which we all keep talking about, and then there's Ursil.
No,
Ursil's the big, like, boar-looking mother with the
guy who was the guy was kind of a throwaway character. I don't think we ever seen him before or since.
Oh, that must have been one of Tessa's then, because Tessa picks people for convenience. Nicodemus will sit on coins until he finds like the perfect host,
the
for
right
that
person,
coin.
yeah.
And so they stick around longer.
But yeah, like, so Harry, he was like holding Harry down, and then basically it forced Ivy to come out from underneath her veil.
And then she destroys people with
yeah, and that's why the guy I was telling you that was holding Harry, she cuts him in half or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's swinging around whatever energy she currently had when that popped up. So she didn't do what Harry did. She didn't pull, and fill up her batteries. She's working on like tiny fractions of energy, but she's the archive. She has every single spell, every single piece of magical information ever like archived or notated down in her head, and she understands it in perfect clarity. So
Yeah.
she's able to take 1% of energy and just use like all of it to the greatest potential.
Well, yeah, she's basically like a turbocharger. She can take the same amount of intake or power and ramps it up and can use it so efficiently. I love how like Harry's running with her, and she's like, "Stay out of the way of my hands," and she's just like, shh, and just dropping people. And he's, and Harry was talking about how he's never seen somebody like do multiple spells at the same, at the same
Yeah, she's
time.
got one. She's rocking one on one hand and another one in her other, and she did something crazy weird. Like didn't she like wreck somebody with a hamster wheel or something? Like she's like taking pieces like telekinetically charging them up and like slicing people up with that crap. And you don't mess with the archive. Archive's scary.
You sure don't. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and this is how we realized how powerful she was, and then also realized that this is why Nicodemus wanted her.
Yeah.
Because if he could turn the archive, I mean, I'm not saying she has limitless power, but I mean, they even said she has access to launch code, all the world's nuclear launch codes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. She knows everything, all the important information.
Anything that's ever been written down. Now, this is another thing I've wondered. Like, so if it's been typed into the internet, does she know that?
Probably, I would think.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say she has a full recollection of the internet and everything, because it's think of it like, if she can psychically notate down something someone wrote on a piece of paper, I mean, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch that you write it on a you write the bits, the ones and zeros on a hard drive, would be the same thing.
Yeah.
If it's information and it's categorized and saved somewhere, she knows it, is how I see it.
Well, and this is, at the end of the whole thing, at the end of that scene, Harry, Kincaid is all busted up. I mean, he can barely, I think his eyes swelled shut. I mean, and the only thing he's doing, and, he's like screaming at Harry, "Get her back. You have to get her back." And, and to me, when I was reading that scene, I was like, there's something more to this. There's something more to Kincaid and Ivy than we know, because like he was so passionate about her, and he doesn't give a crap about whether Nicodemus has launch codes or anything. That's not what Kincaid's about, but Kincaid cares about Ivy.
Yeah, I sat there thinking to myself, I'm like, I missed something here.
Yeah. You felt like you missed something, because it was just like, you got to get her back. And, Harry comes up with that clever thing about like, where he's like, he writes on a piece of paper and he's like, "Ivy, don't give up. Don't listen to them. I'm coming for you."
And that pays off later on too. I love the part where he gets to her, and and everything, and she looks at him and goes, "I got your note." She's saying that, in her cute little voice and whatnot. And I don't know. It's just nice. It's a warming feeling.
It's so funny. Anytime I ever hear like Ivy, or they talk about Ivy, the only thing I can think of is Kitty.
Right.
Which is a very unnerving scene, considering she's talking, business, and she's talking like a 30 plus grown adult woman, and then what was it, in the blink of an eye, the split second, the hair's breadth, she goes from that to "Ooh, Kitty," like 6-year-old girl, and you're like, that is very unnerving.
But yeah, we then Harry ends up back out on the island,
The first time you get to see the island. You don't know
Yeah.
that the island's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was, I mean, this is one of the most heart freaking crazy scenes ever. You got, because was this one of the first times where Harry really calls in a ton of favors? And we had because it was like a big battle. I mean, you had a lot of people there. I mean,
Mhm.
you had Harry, you had Michael, Marcone's people, freaking guard was there.
Mhm.
And didn't he have were the alphas with him on this one?
No, I don't think the
No,
alphas were
they
there.
weren't.
You're
No.
conflating this one with Turncoat. They get on the
Yeah,
island
yeah.
in
Yeah,
Turncoat.
we,
the next
we
book.
get a very similar. In fact, I think it's the same. Is it the same island as the
Yes.
Turncoat? Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, we get a very similar scene in Turncoat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of being on the island and everything, this is when you get Harry's quintessential tongue-in-cheek humor in really dark situations. So everybody that doesn't know, Nicodemus has this one little habit he likes to do with his men, where they get their tongues cut out. And because of that, they cannot communicate all that well. They can't talk to each other or anything like that. And he's running through the forest on this island, and at one point, like one of those men gets startled by him, but they can't tell who he is because he's too far away. And the guy's just like, and then Harry goes back to him, and then gives him the finger and keeps running. I love that part.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, you have, so much going on. And I mean, we see the elaborate circle that they have put her in. And I mean, did he say that they shaved her head?
Yes.
Yeah.
They shaved her head. They did the same thing to Marcone, but it's not as bad, for a 40-year-old man to get his head shaved. Most people are just like, oh, whatever, it'll grow back. But for women, their hair is, usually, part of their identity. So they're trying to strip her of what little identity she has left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he and doesn't he use he uses not Marcone's Kincaid's dragon rounds or whatever, right?
The dragon breath rounds?
Yeah. Where he shoots them in the air to blinds everybody.
I thought it was a flare, but it might be the dragon breaths because
it
would look roughly the same.
Yeah, it was his double barrel shotgun with Kincaid's rounds in them.
Okay.
And then just after that, just all hell breaks loose. But then, yeah, was it Flight of the Valkyries?
Guard comes in on a Huey, shooting Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, which is incredibly appropriate considering she is one. And don't forget that Hendrix is on a freaking minigun, just raining hellfire down on these people.
And he didn't say this, but I just imagine that Hendrix has the biggest smile he's ever had in his life, as he just gets to sit there and just rain down death upon everybody.
All right, so anyone that's if it were me, I would. I'd love to shoot a minigun. I don't, it would break me, financially. They got one in Vegas or something. You can get on it, but they cost $100 a round. So more or less,
wow.
And it's a minigun. So you go, and now you're bankrupt. But it would be worth it.
It would be worth it.
But shall we talk about the elephant hanging off of the Huey?
Oh man, that was
If
it's what you're talking about, I was so floored by that.
just rips your heart out.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, like because he's such a staple now.
he is.
In the series, you're like, and now all the viewers are wondering who the hell are they talking about?
But
What are you talking about?
The worst part about it is him and Guard lock eyes.
And then that's how you know. Okay, she did this again. This is the second time they've done this in the book. The first time is in Deadbeat, where apparently Harry's was fated to die, and they went and changed destiny and everything. So, Guard being a freaking Valkyrie, she sees when people are like their destiny is to die, because that's what Valkyries do. They you know they're the choosers of the slain.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
hey, what's up, Dominic? But she sees this. She has the same reaction to Michael.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Michael is in her sights, and she's like, you know, he's fated to die right now. It's happening. I'm the true. You know, like I see him dying.
You know, and Harry's like, no. He goes, you take my spot on the winch, and I'll stay down. And
Tessa shows up with like a Kalashnikov or something.
Yeah.
And she just
smiles.
Mag dumps him.
Well,
right
and the way that Jim talks about it, talks about how the body armor actually worsened it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it went through and it bounced off the armor and back into him. You know, and you're just sitting there, you're just like, you know, you're like Michael now.
Yeah, right. And here, you know, I mean, Harry's made promises to keep Michael safe. You know he's going to be in deep shit with Charity over this. Not to mention Molly. You know, it's like, and just I mean the aftermath. I mean, in the hospital later, I'm just.
Yeah, that was
that tugs on your heartstrings so hard.
Yeah, it really does. Because
yeah,
I mean, I know we can talk spoilers, right? So
yeah, we're all spoiling this.
So basically, I mean, we're not sure at this point if he's ever going to walk again.
Well, we didn't even think he was going to live.
Well, yeah, we didn't think he was going to live, but at the very least, he may not walk again. Yeah,
yeah, and they were what were they saying? They were saying something about his eye. He may not regain function of his eye or something because like his orbital bone exploded or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Like you know how bad it is because you know as Harry you watched it happen, but then you know then you get the double like the extra gut punch when Molly's talking to him and she's like they hurt his heart. You know, like his heart is damaged, and like he's going to go into surgery, and then Harry, knowing that he's going to be on a lot of life support machinery and everything, is like Grasshopper. We got to go. You know, like if we're here and they bring him in, like we could destroy the stuff and kill him. And then so now his oldest daughter can't be in the room with him. She can't see him until he's off the machines,
right?
And everything. And then I think when they go out into the waiting room and everything, he's like, Molly, just stay with your mom, and I'm gonna go because it's my fault that he's even in there. And then Charity grabs him and goes,
internal torture he's going through, like the thoughts of it should have been me up there, and
he intentionally he literally switched positions with Michael to try to avert what happened.
Yeah.
So there's going to be all kinds of guilt weighing on his mind and all this other stuff, and like the one again, this is less of a heartstring pull and more of a heartwarming thing. But Charity grabs him at the end there, and as he's leaving, and she's like, no, family stays. Your family. So this is like where you're like he's expecting Charity to be like, you piece of garbage, you did this to my husband. Like, you were the worst thing that's ever happened to us. You were the worst thing that ever happened to Michael. He's expected because Harry has a very low opinion of himself, incredibly low. Yeah, he thinks he's a burden to people, even if he doesn't actually say it. So he's expecting the worst, and then she says that and everything, and it's just like, as the reader, you feel the weight come off of his shoulders.
Yeah, that's
You know.
for sure. Because
Well, it's like,
even though
he really found family. It's like he
Yeah.
realizes what he means to people.
Mhm.
and even though he had made promises to Charity and stuff like that, at the end of the day, Charity knows, the kind of husband, the kind of person her husband is. He wasn't going to stand for Harry being in danger either. So
Yeah. Well, because that's what she told him. She goes, he would be here for you.
yeah,
Mhm.
You should be here for him. And that was just, and then, actually before this scene, you had the, we got to talk about Eldest Gruff, right?
Well, before we get to that, let's get to how he got there. So Harry's got that thing up above Little Chicago, bouncing around and everything, so they don't know where he is. He's
Right.
effectively neutralized the summer court. Then Tessa does what she does to Michael, and what does he do? He's like, in his emotional, in that emotional moment, he's like, he looks at her and goes, "Burn." He knows that if he uses fire magic, they're gonna know where he is. They're gonna, it's summer court. They're gonna zero right in on it, and boom, they're gonna be there. He's gonna be up shit creek. He doesn't care. In the book, I believe he even says, "I officially did not care." And then he's like, "Burn," and then a beam of blue fire comes out of his hand that's practically solid, if I remember what the book said, and bores a hole through Tessa. He's like, "Yeah, burn, you piece of trash, die." Which, like they're Denarians. It's hard to kill them, but that certainly messed her ass up.
Oh yeah.
And then, he used the fire, so now
And then he takes
the
off
Gruff
running. Yeah, he's like, I got to get out of here. He hears, was it Magog?
Yep,
running,
it was Magog,
running after him, and he like hides in this
like a boathouse or something.
Abandoned shack, and then he hears the thud.
Yeah, it's giant monumental thuds and everything, and like each of the Gruffs have been getting progressively bigger. Tiny, as he called him, was this giant behemoth of a freaking Gruff. So you're thinking, Jesus, is this thing as big as a house?
Yeah. Well, and he's talking about he's like, I do not fear the fallen one, but my quarrel is not with thee. Remove yourself from my path, and you shall live. And you're thinking, you're like, does Eldest Gruff know who he's messing with? He's messing with a Denarian, like one of the physically strongest ones. And then the next thing you know, Magog comes shooting through the, he blows him up through the building, and then Harry's like hiding in the corner, like, okay,
he swatted him down like he was an uppity pixie.
He's like, this guy's going to be so big that maybe if I stand over here where the boards are old, he'll just fall through, and then I can take off. And it's like, and I love how even in this moment, Harry can kind of be goofy, where he's like, where it's like thud, thud. He goes, man, how big is this guy? How long does it take him to get here? And then finally he pokes his head through, and he's like 5 foot tall, and he's like, and he's basically like, he's like, Harry, step outside. Go ahead.
So, all right. So already you saw him like drop kick Magog and just one shot him. He's laying in a heap, and I think he starts growing freaking like flowers and crap on him and everything. You're like, Jesus, did he just did the Gruff just beat the health into him? And he tells him to come out, and he comes out and everything. And at this point, I think Harry's still thinking he can maybe take him until he sees what's on his waist.
The stoles.
Yeah, 3 stoles,
purple,
from senior council wizards. And so he's like, well, shit. This guy just took out Magog like he was an uppity pixie, and he's got 3 purple shoals from other senior council wizards that I wouldn't tangle with on his belt. So at that point, I think at that point Harry went, "I'm not fighting this guy. He's going to kick my ass." And
well, so then he asked him for a small favor.
Mhm.
Like he knows that. I love that part so much because Harry knows he's got a favor, he's got a boon that he earned from the summer court that they have to fulfill. And the best part is the eldest Gruff knows that Harry's not his enemy. He's one of the few in the summer court that understands nuance and understands that he's not the bad guy, and so he plays along with it because he could totally have like ignored it or something or belayed it till after he kicked Harry's ass, because fairies are fairies. They do that crap. But, he's like, give me a jelly donut.
A real Chicago, not one of these fairy donuts.
Right.
Yeah, that was an important thing.
He's basically sending the Gruff on a wild goose or a wild Gruff chase, I guess I should say.
But the thing is, the Gruff is in on it. He's okay with it, and I
Oh,
love that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Does thine like jelly on thine or in thine donut or something?" And then Harry says some other faux Shakespearean crap back to him about sprinkles or something.
Yeah, he goes, no,
Yeah.
but thou with sprinkles.
I love that.
And then Harry's like with Murphy or whatever, and in the car, in the cop car, there's a bag just sitting there, and
he was with Michael, or not Michael, Thomas, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was with Thomas in that scene, and Thomas is like, "Where the hell did that donut come from?"
yeah.
And he just starts eating it and
Yeah,
everything.
that's right, yeah.
And he's like, "You're not gonna tell me, are you?" He's like, "Nope."
That
Damn
like,
wizards in their mysteries.
yeah. Oh. Yeah, so I definitely need to get more holders for him, but yeah.
Nice.
Cover.
That's
Nice.
Yeah. I love the lady. I'm gonna try and put her link in here. But yeah, we've got like 4 of the alternate covers that she makes and stuff. It's so cool.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, that would have made for a cool cover.
well, that's kind of like the but her covers kind of give a little bit more away. They're more for people who've actually read them, so you're like, I get what you did there.
Yeah.
But so the next book is like, I mean, he always has good beginnings to books, but this one, he's just like, I open the door, a bang at the door, and here's freaking Morgan falling on me. Hide me, they're coming. And you're just like, I felt like I was just like Harry. I was knocked off guard. I'm like, what? Well, okay, why is he hates Harry? Why is he at it? Why is he just banging at your house? Why is he all bloody? He's falling on you. He's asking you for help. What? He hates you.
So we jumping into turncoat?
Right into turncoat. Here we go.
So before we do that, are you really going to skip over the boat scene? Like, the boat scene in Small Favor is monumental for a few reasons.
The water beetle?
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, Thomas's water
freaking
beetle.
Nicodemus is fighting Harry.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, you got to talk about that. You can't just jump into turncoat. You got to talk about that and the job offer. Those things are important.
Well, it's where he figures out the weakness.
Well, he figured out that the weakness with the noose in death masks, but in this one he hammers down on that. He
Takes it to the next level. Yeah.
like he chokes Nicodemus to death, and Deidre is barreling down on him. She's gonna kill his ass as he's choking out Nick because they have such a squicky relationship, father daughter, and they're also lovers. It's just but she's gonna kill him, and Murphy's there, and she's as they're barreling down and everything. Murphy like unsheaths just a quarter of an inch of Fideliakis and that thing's shining brighter than the damn sun. It powerful enough to repel Deidre as Nick is being choked to death, and like he's completely limp and unresponsive, and basically dead. And then Harry, in the most disrespectful manner possible, I love it, just picks him up and just yeets his ass over the damn boat.
Right.
And and then he looks at Murphy and she's like, I think that's a job offer. And she's like, I already got a job. What are the pay benefits? I don't think they're that good. But yeah, we had to talk about that. She got a job offer, and old Nick got choked to death, on the water beetle and everything, and yeeted into Lake Michigan. Now we can segue to
Debs. Yeah.
It's exactly. Now we can segue over to Turncoat, which is one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were so many, good characters in Turncoat. Turncoat to me was like a big is kind of like a big character thing. We have Morgan showing up. Yeah, and Harry actually kind of had to turn into like the old noir Harry, which I like. He's like, okay, crime, got to solve it. So he's starting to have to use his brain on this more. And then we have a heavy dose of the White Court, which I'm always down for. I love the White Court. Mm-hmm. I love how they play things out.
Their wizard politics.
I love their I love the politics, of the White Court and how they try to cat's paw people. But then you also get to see in this, like, they don't mess around. Like, if you want to battle, like they can throw down if they have to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you finally get a full view of why Arthur is the Merlin, because before, like, up until this book, you're just like, this guy is a joke. He's a jackass. He's arguably a narcissistic, evil POS, and but he's a politic player. He knows how to play the politic game. But like Harry could smack him around like he was just some joke of a wizard and everything, because he's a politician. Like in real life, you take any politician you want. In real life here. Most of them are geriatric, which is why. But you take any of them, you stick them in a coliseum here, they're all going to die. They can't throw down. Or stick them in an MMA ring. All right, put Biden in there with anybody in MMA. Watch what happens.
Somebody like Laura.
But in the wizard world and everything, so take a wizard MMA ring and everything. You stick Arthur in there, and whoever you put in there with him is going to regret that.
Yeah,
and you find that out in this. Like, the dude is definitely, the best way to put it, bona fide.
Well, and we also find out two other things in this book. One, that skinwalkers are not to be trifled with.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then we also find out that Morgan can nuked one back in the 50s.
Right.
And I'm just like, that is one of the coolest things of all time.
Mm-hmm. Clever as hell. He knew he couldn't take the thing on one-on-one. So what's he do? He cat and mouses the bastard onto the Manhattan Project. And then right before the thing detonates, pulls a veil and walks through over to the Never Never and shuts it. Like, that is just awesome.
Yeah.
Just so creative. Such a creative use of their powers.
But like Nagloshi is just so like OP. Like, first it Harry just seeing the thing with his sight floors him and makes him go loony for 12 hours.
Oh, easily. So the thing is, that will always affect him the same exact way. He just has to get used to how it affects him. And he talks about that in the book and everything. He's like, well, I can never, ever unsee that. It's going to be a perfect memory in my head for the rest of my life. And so I can't change it. So I have to change myself.
Yeah.
I have to adapt.
Right.
And
Yep.
because when it first happens, it's literally a brown note. You know, he sees it and he blacks out, crashes his car. He comes to, and his car is crashed into a pole. He gets out of the car. He remembers it. He sees it again, blacks out. It is so violent in his head that it's giving him nosebleeds. It is physiologically affecting him.
He ends up at the Alphas in a dark room and just
Hits himself
over and over again with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, this thing is so powerful. It kills one of the Alphas.
Right.
It attacks Chateau Wraith by himself.
Oh no, it sieges Chateau Wraith.
Yeah. With Harry there, Harry's there, Laura, the whole like most of the White Court or most of her sisters were there. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, some high level, and this thing is just, they hurt him, they stun him a little bit, but for the most part, he just runs through everything they throw at him. He has one of her sisters, and he's like,
lopping off fingers.
You know me, Nathan. I hate seeing people lose fingers. That's a phobia or something that I have in myself that I just And that scene where he's just plucking fingers while he's talking to them, I'm like, God dang, man.
Man, you know what's really screwed up about that? And this might be an indictment against my screwed up brain. But during that scene, everything as he's doing this and stuff, sometimes in the books I'll add sound effects in my brain. I swear to God, every time we talk about that, like the sounds in my head as he's chewing on these damn fingers, it's like chewing on a carrot.
Oh. Yeah. What's up, Doc?
This is loud cracks and crackles.
Oh man.
But
and not only that, I mean, the Negloshi is like feeds on magic too. So certain things that they're throwing at him, like when they're fighting at the home of the Alphas and stuff like that, and he kills the Alpha and stuff, and Harry's throwing that stuff at him, and the Negloshi is just feeding off of that and getting stronger.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why he wants
almost invincible.
Well, that's why he wants Morgan and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to eat this old and powerful wizard here.
Yeah.
Take all of his power.
Yeah.
Basically, he's looking at Morgan like he's flaming young.
But then we, Harry's kind of digging deeper into, into what's going on. Ends up going to. Is this the first time that we see Edinburgh?
I think it is actually.
Yeah.
The wizards come to him in proven guilty. So they come to Chicago. I'm pretty sure that this is the first time we actually go to Edinburgh with meet Chandler and the rest of them.
Okay.
It may be in small favor. Maybe it may have happened in small favor, but at the very least was 10. Book 10 onwards, I think, is when they were showing Edinburgh.
Yeah. To what Colton says over there, I think Shag Nasty is my favorite nickname that Harry's given to any, because he gives everything a nickname, and I think Shag Nasty is my favorite.
Well, on top of that's actually something that, Joe, your Native American folklore and everything. Like when it comes to skinwalkers, you don't talk about skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't say their name. If you said their, if you do any of that shit, you're gonna, they love hearing about themselves. They're like the, ultimate narcissist. So they want to hear about
They're almost a sort of, I guess, you know what? I didn't even think about that. They're almost like a White Court vampire in themselves. They feed off the fear that people have on them or at least that's how Native Americans in real life feel. Like if you talk about them,
Right.
you'll instill more fear and you'll power the creature more.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mhm.
so that's why they don't talk about it.
Nope, they don't talk about them. They never say their names, which is why I think Harry doing what he did is really really appropriate. Him calling it Shag Nasty isn't its name. It doesn't claim that as a name, so it's not getting any power from that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so yeah, Harry goes to Edinburgh, and you see the whole council is just talking about random stuff, and you got and I'd love how they show every aspect of it. Like people are on people are on the phones. People are cooking. You have wizards that are and then you have like Peabody, who's the pencil pusher. Trying to get signatures from everybody. And then so Harry's trying to gather information there, and he's trying to be all coy about like, oh yeah, freaking Morgan's a son of a bitch. I hate that guy. I don't know where the hell he is.
Well, that's
If
the beautiful thing of it
if I
too.
find him, you better watch out.
That's the beautiful aspect of him going to Harry, because nobody would have thought that he'd go to Harry, and nobody thought Harry would help him. And so it was the perfect place to hide and everything. But then you find out why he's on the run. Like, he's being accused of killing a senior council wizard. So one of the big dogs is now dead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, like this is gonna create like a whole shitstorm, basically.
Oh yeah, there's a power vacuum. I mean, it's not as bad as the entire head of this. Like if all the senior council wizards were to be killed at the same time, like the White Council probably wouldn't be able to survive that, because the power vacuum created by that would just destroy the entire organization.
Well, and the three big big dogs, or whatever you want to call them, is Ebenezer, the Merlin, and the Gatekeeper. If one of those three were to fall, it's going to be massive trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I still say that Rashid is probably the most powerful one on that
Rashid.
Rashid, yeah.
That's hard. That's hard to say. That's hard to say which one's the most powerful, because they normally say that Ebenezer is the best battle wizard on the planet. But yeah, I don't. But there's something about Rashid that just says that like he's always very calm. Nothing really pushes his buttons. Like he doesn't seem to be afraid of anything.
Right.
Well, you can tell that he's seen it all. Like he's dealt with everything that you could imagine. Come out the other side. He's calm and collected. He's hyper efficient with his magic. So, McCoy might be able to throw more power, but Rashid would be able to roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be able to roll off of that power punch.
Yeah.
I think McCoy's got the power. Rashid has got the finesse.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think the way that they explain the Merlin. What is the Merlin's name?
Arthur Langley.
Yeah, Arthur. The way they explain him is he is like the master of wards.
Mm-hmm.
So like I guess in a battle, he would be the guy that would be kind of. I would feel like he's probably trying to set traps for people. Like his shields are probably top notch, and then
Well, all right. So if McCoy is the unstoppable force, Arthur is the immovable object. Like he'd be able to take anything thrown at him because of his wards. Like this guy, I'm pretty sure single-handedly held back like a legion of outsiders with his ward. Just casually. He's like, hey, I'm gonna hold these guys back. Can you guys create a way for us so we can get out of here?
Well, and then, when we get to the point where, we got to talk about.
Are you getting ahead of yourself?
I want to get ahead of myself. I do. But,
it's easy to with this book.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I guess we should talk about when Harry, because we're talking. because we're talking about this book introduces a lot of characters and stuff. We got to talk about when Harry is trying to get Morgan to the safe house. His little bug out.
Oh, the introduction of a very underrated character in Binder.
Binder.
Right, yeah,
Binder is awesome. He is where he can he has like a little ring or whatever, and he has these like I don't know what they call them, but like there's like Binder's men or whatever, and they just kind of come out and surround everybody. And he's basically like he's just a businessman. He's just like he goes, I don't care about you, Harry. I don't care about this chick cop. And like Murphy's like, what did you say to me?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about you. I just need the warden. He goes, I need the $5 million. Okay, I want to retire. I like champagne and women. Yeah, that's basically what he says.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, he is the consummate professional, and that's something I actually really like about him. He's not a card-carrying villain. He doesn't have any beef against any of the characters, as you said. He's just like, man, come on, dude, come on, give me Morgan, man. This is annoying. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. No one wants to be here. Come on, just give him to me. I won't kill you. I'll walk away and I'll get my money. Come on.
Yeah. And we both know he's not going to just leave Harry alone like
Right.
that. I mean, yeah. And Harry knows that too.
But this sets up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Don't spoil anything for me.
No spoilers.
Yes. But this scene, though, also sets up an awesome payoff with Molly that I love. Again, remember, she's not a powerhouse. She can't, throw punches with people in the same league with Harry and everything. She just doesn't have that raw power. What she has is subtlety. She has finesse. So, she's got world-class veils.
Yep.
And a knowledge of how to create circles.
I love that, where she ends up trapping him in there and dropping all of his goons at once.
Yep, because that's what he does. He binds these weird, what are they? They look like G-men or something, weird
like Men in Black or something.
Just weird ass like hive mind things. And he can just keep conjuring them. No big deal. Like 100, 200 of these suckers. Teach them how to use a Tommy gun, give them and you can give them rudimentary instructions and they'll go do stuff. That's actually a very, very useful power. It's a one trick, but it's useful.
Yeah, and that's what he says. He's like, you're nothing but a one trick pony. He's like, your trick's good, but when I can cut you off from it, you have nothing else.
Right.
And then that's exactly what Molly does. Pulls a veil, creates a giant ass circle around every one of the goons, and then empowers it, cuts them off. They all start melting because they're not physically there. It's like it's aspects of whatever the hell he's conjuring. So, like their body's made of ectoplasm and everything. So as soon as they pop that, they just melt, and he's up shit creek without a paddle because he didn't have any more people, and he can't pull them from inside that circle.
Well, and then after this, we end up back in Edinburgh, and we realize that the end is nigh.
All right. Now, before we talk about that, you got to talk about how this was one of the more brilliant plans that the Black Council had. They had a mole deep inside of the White Council, and this guy was able to infect absolutely everybody, and even the arrogant ass senior counsel's like, we can't be mind controlled. No, he can't control your mind, but he sure as hell can subtly point you in the direction that he wants you to be. And they didn't even realize that could happen. And then they all take a step back and they go, shit, we need to reassess every single decision we've made in the last 5 years.
You know, well, and it's the return of Mordite. You know,
Oh, the freaking mist fiend or whatever
Death,
the hell.
yeah, it's like, you know, and it's like Deathstone. You know, and of course these wizards do exactly what you know, they do exactly what they do. You know, when the lights go out, you know, they turn their wizards lights on, and then just.
And
know.
as they're doing it, like was it Harry or was it Arthur or one of the others that put out a shout saying, "Don't turn on your lights"?
Well, Harry shouts it, but then Arthur, the Merlin, just starts talking to people in their head.
Again, showing you why he's the Merlin.
Yeah, he didn't get his position by collecting bottle caps.
Right.
But you know, like they all do, like you said, they all pop their lights on, and the mist fiend made of, you know, mist unlife, you know, made of a mist of Mordite or whatever you want to call it, you know, just starts wrapping its tentacles around these guys and just, you know, like, how do you melting them? Trying to think of the best way of putting it, you know, and you know, it's going for the light. So any jackass that pops the light, they're dead.
Well, I love how the Merlin is like, we are taking control of this situation. Everybody file out calmly. And then he talks to one of the other senior council members. He's like, can you kindly take control of the Mordite, please? I'm just like, that's why he's the leader.
Dude, it's even more badass than that, in my opinion, because not only does he do that, like he psychically tells everybody, it's all right, we got it all under control. Would everyone please just exit the area? I've got it controlled on the left and the right. Here's my plan, and then he projects into their heads literally like a plan, like a full blown like bullet point plan of what he's going to do, and what everyone's positions and everything. You know, just a top down of the room, and you're like, Jesus, like. You had maybe a split second before the lights went out, then you know where everybody was, and you got this giant like written up plan that you're just pushing to everybody's heads, and then you know, like you were saying, the scene, I think he says something. I think he tells the gatekeeper, he's like, Rashid, could you please ensure this thing doesn't walk forward so I don't die?
Well, and then doesn't he psychically tell Harry, would you kindly go get Mr.
Peabody,
yeah.
Peabody's he was the mole, and oh man, like so he's got this psychic trigger phrase, and all of the young wizards, you know, that didn't get properly trained for psychic assaults, and so you know, like you were saying earlier, if he's running around screeching, the end is nigh,
the end is nigh,
and you know, all the freaking young bucks and everything are you know being taken over, and they're trying to kill all the other wizards and stop Harry and all that stuff, including Lucio. You know, since she's in the young body, I love that. I absolutely loved that. You know, her being in the young body made her psychically vulnerable because she didn't develop, you know, the hardened pathways of the brain that you know that you do in age and everything.
Right. Yeah, because what they say, it's hard to do that directly after you're 100.
Yeah, because you get more. It's just like real
brittle.
life. You get more set in your ways.
Yeah.
And he's doing that and running with that. Keep in mind that this is during the trial. They had already found Morgan. He gave himself up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, at that one point in the trial where you have Harry call Mouse up to the stand, and he's the one that actually shits all over the defense. And everyone's like, this is a dog. Why is a dog up here? What's going on? What the hell is this? But Ancient Mai is like, what the shit?
She's freaking out. She's like, how do you have a foo dog?
Right.
And then like all the Asian wizards
they're all like,
yeah.
Ooh, you know, these are legit.
You can believe that thing. You can believe the dog.
And this is the first time we actually find out exactly what Mouse is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there
Yeah.
were subtle hints that he was, he's obviously more than just a dog and everything
yeah.
throughout,
Yeah,
like sprinkled
absolutely.
out, but it's never explicitly stated what he is. And then you find out he's an actual food dog and everything, and which explains how he's so smart. He's got, human level intelligence. He's as smart as a person, arguably
Yeah.
smarter than Harry in a lot of places, and Harry would say
Right.
that. And the line I love from Ancient Maya is like, she's like, "Why do you have this, and why are you allowed to keep it? Somebody
Yeah.
take this dog." But before that though, like we did kind of gloss over the island. Like that's kind of an important part of the book.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, where Harry goes goes back to the island there, and he brings what is it, I forget what the term they used was, but
Sanctum invocation.
yeah, so he became basically one with the island, and and he gets what they call genus loci,
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I love what he tells people after that. So he brings Rashid to the island, and Rashid's like, "I've seen you," because he's got that, how he can see the future and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I've seen your future, man. You're gonna die. You need to give this up and give up Morgan." And then Harry takes a step off of the dock onto the island. He's like, "Well, check again." And he checks again, and like you see his face go.
He's like, I can't believe you did that, but yeah, that changes it.
You made this your sanctum, like, and then Harry's like, why don't you get off the dock? He's like, me and the island have
Don't
bad
get
history.
along.
We got bad blood.
And then Harry thinks about the limp that I was like, what?
Yeah, the island itself has it's a genius loci and everything. It's got its own like spiritual avatar that Harry meets when he goes to actually act or enact his sanctum invocation, and everything. And it was actually a pretty subtle thing. Like I won't go into spoilers because Chaz hasn't gotten to this point, and I don't want anyone else to hasn't got to this point. But you find out that the island was being very, very, very understanding with Harry. The island was chill with that, and he was like, "All right, I kind of like this gangly looking guy. I'll join with him." And then Harry starts talking about it and everything to other people, and he's like, "I punched it in the nose, and now we're friends."
Yeah. But man,
and this is where he gives it the name too, right? I think it's officially known as Demon Reach in this.
Demon Reach, yeah,
because
he had to give it a name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty clear that up until this point, like, number one, nobody would be stupid enough to invoke that island.
Just wait.
Right. But then Harry, who is stupid enough, actually pulls it off. And
like, Chaz, you don't know yet how right you are.
no
one is stupid enough to do what Harry did. But Harry is just stupid enough.
Harry's kind of like the old saying is like, if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. Like,
right. or crazy or like a fox.
Yeah.
And then also better lucky than good.
Right.
Yeah, Harry's catchphrase should be, "Oh yeah, hold my beer."
Exactly. And then one of the most iconic scenes to me in the series happens on the island in this book the senior, at this point, the White Council knows Harry has Morgan, and they want Morgan's ass. And they sent 2 senior council wizards along with a whole deployment of senior wardens, like badass wardens and everything that troubleshooters. They all meet up with Harry like on the island. They're standing there, and then you got, I think it was Ancient Mai was saying, give us Harry, give us Morgan, and we won't kill you. And he's like, "No, I won't give you Morgan. And you know what? If you think you could take me on, bring it." This is the first time he's actually stood in front of the council and challenged them. He's like, do it.
And they've got all the heavy hitters there. They got Lessons to Win. They got Ebenezer. They got Ancient Mai. Not to mention the White Court arrives shortly after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact wording. I don't remember exactly how he says it, but to paraphrase, he's like, no one moved. Because, in their heads, they weren't standing in front of, tired, tired Harry Dresden, jackass of Chicago. They were standing in front of, this terrifying warlock Harry Dresden that killed a fairy queen and took on the Order of the Black and Denarius twice. And he starts laying off all these different things he's done, and then you really get a sense that holy shit, this is how everyone else sees him. This is like he definitely has a terrifying reputation. You don't get to see all of the things that happen to allow him to come out on top. All you know, if you're not Harry, is that Harry keeps coming out on top.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps beating things he shouldn't be able to beat. And so, they were all terrified of him.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, from Small Favor to the end, or to the current, where we're currently at, it's just one great book after another. I don't think you can really say that there's any lulls in a book where you're just like, because sometimes in this, in the first 9 books, that every once in a while you might be like, this is kind of a down book. I wasn't like, it wasn't over the moon for it. But from here on out, it's just, and Colton is correct. Harry is a badass.
Oh yeah, he's proved that
Very much
numerous
so.
times.
Harry's also an escalator.
But like when Harry is chasing down, why do I keep forgetting that guy's name?
Peabody.
Then Peabody's chasing Peabody down. Peabody gets out, goes through, the little veil or whatever into the Never Never, and and then he's fighting Harry, but Harry's all beat up, so he's about to, he might get Harry, and then all of a sudden you just see the red mark right between his eyes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry turns around and Morgan's there with a gun, and Morgan basically used the last of his energy, the last of his life.
Yeah, he was tearing all of his stitches and all these other things out, and the dude was basically bleeding out. He didn't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, he knew his days were numbered anyway. So yeah.
So
and then he tells Harry, let me take the fall. And Harry's
he didn't want Lucio to get, wrapped in. Well, the man, God knows how long, but he was Lucio's apprentice, and the dude was hot for teacher. He loved, loved her. And he didn't want to drag her into it and everything. He probably was under the belief that she suffered enough. I mean, the poor woman she's going to go through menopause twice. Not many women go through menopause twice, damn it.
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the, another like heart stabbing thing where it's like, we hated Morgan for so long.
He was a prick.
And then by the end of it, you're just like, why Morgan? Why you have to be such a good guy at the end?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Morgan, why you gotta be all right guy? Why you gotta be all right? Can't you be a prick? I mean, he still was an asshole, but I mean, he went from a full blown asshole to a jerk with a heart of gold. You got to see that. You can try to demonize people all you want, but most of the time there is some article of good in them. And if you see it, you'll change your opinion.
I'm trying to think. Oh, and then this is where like Harry and Lucio end up having that conversation about how we what was it like? Lucio comes to him and she's like, well, they said that it really yes, I did fill things for you, but it was spurred on by the spell that she was under. And you're like, man, Harry can't
Yeah.
have anything.
Harry
Harry's
can't
not
catch
allowed
a
to be
Oh, yeah.
happy. You know, like,
He cannot have nice things. He cannot have relationships. He cannot be. You know, this is at this. You kind of see it throughout the series, but this is where it really starts hammering home that anything that makes Harry happy gets taken from him. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
totally.
universe takes his binky every time.
But yeah, this, I mean, again, like this was a just another awesome book. I think it's about time. I think it's about time for us to kind of hit the old dusty trail here. But two amazing books. I think the rest of these books are just going to be so exciting to talk about because they're all great books. They all have big moments in them and big things that change everything. And so if anyone is currently watching this, make sure you're subscribed to Chaz if you're not already subscribed, because he's awesome and love watching all your content, man. I appreciate you being on here.
Thanks. I'm
To
glad
talk
to be here.
Dresden. Yeah.
I'm excited to talk changes, man. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm itching. I'm like, oh,
Dude,
I can't
that is-
say anything.
That's 2 hours worth of conversation right there. Just
Yeah, that could be a whole live stream right there. Yeah,
I just dropped my changes thing. I didn't write any notes down about it.
yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
And it was like 25 minutes because I was just like, I was like, man, was this too long? But I was like, what can you do?
right. Yeah. With
better too long than too short.
Yeah, exactly. With such a series altering book, you gotta do it justice. Yeah.
Hopefully we can maybe we can because we've pushed this discussion back a little bit. It was supposed to be last month, but hopefully maybe next month we can do it and get the whole crew together and talk about changes and it's gonna be a good one. I appreciate everybody who's watching.
Yeah,
and
everybody.
we will see you guys in the next one.
Peace out.